some minor signings going on in the league. These are signings I just want to talk about because I think they're really interesting, but I don't think they deserve a full segment just to talk about them themselves, like a guy like Blake Snell or Jordan Montgomery signing would be. I'm hoping those happen really soon because we need some news going on in baseball. I know spring training's starting, but there's still a lot of free agents out there, so please sign. I would love to talk about it. I really want to see what happens. So first, we're going to talk about Yasmani Grandal and him going to the Pirates. Now, this is a really, really interesting signing in my opinion. I think people might have overlooked it, but I think it's a lot going into this. So obviously, the Pirates have Henry Davis, who is going to be a catcher of the future most likely. He may shift to a different position if they don't like his defense. But as of right now, I think I project him more as a catcher and being the guy there for Pittsburgh for a long time. Um, Obviously, you had another guy, Andy Rodriguez, who was going to probably be your backup, who's another top prospect, but he got hurt before the season. So you bring in Randall, you bring in a lot of depth for this Pirates team that's young, has a lot of young players. You're behind Davis. Let's say what I was talking about before with Henry Davis and his injuries. If his injuries, his fielding, my apologies, I got it mixed up with Andy Rodriguez. If his fielding worries come and come in the season and you see that, okay, you might not be a best fit for a catcher in the future, you have a guy like Randall who maybe has not had the best season last year, but knows how to play catcher, is a veteran guy with a young pitching staff that can definitely help with calling, can play good defense. If, he may not hit the best, but boy, can he walk. His walk rate of the past few years has been insane. Batting average has been super low, but his OPS has always been really high just because of the walk rate and him knowing how to take pitches, being really good at the plate and taking strikes. So I like the signing for the Pirates. I think it's good insurance for Henry Davis, good insurance because of the Andy Rodriguez injury. It makes a lot of sense as well, just because they were very interested in Gary Sanchez from what we've heard, and obviously he did not go there. He went to their rival Pirates. So I think it's interesting to look at what they pivoted after with Sanchez, and I like the depth signing here, and I kind of like the upside play with the Pirates signing a guy in Rendell who used to be really good, and maybe they think, okay, we'll get some more out of him playing on a young team with a lot of young players and explosive personalities. Maybe they'll bring out the best in him. Next, we have another interesting signing, Spencer Turnbull. He went to the Philadelphia Phillies. Just some more depth for the Phillies, as I was talking about. This is the second free agent they've signed. He'll probably play in a swingman role, uh, being a six starter if someone needs an extra day of rest, but also being a long relief guy to the bullpen. You're seeing a lot more teams do this now with their players, just having them become a swingman, being a guy who can fill in as a starter, or if a starter has a bad game or it comes out to really via injury, or you just want some innings eaten if the game's a blowout, being a long relief guy in the bullpen. So I think it's an interesting signing there for the Phillies. It's not had a bad career at the Tigers, so I like what they were doing here. I think it's good process. It's good signing for the Phillies. Just add more depth to pitching. You always need pitching depth. That's the one thing in baseball you always need. And I think Turnbull just gives that to the Phillies. Good little signing for them. Nothing else to say there. Actually, we had a little bit of news going on in the while I was on break, so I'm just going to talk about that quickly so I don't forget. Amir Garrett went to the San Francisco Giants. Yeah, another minor signing, so I figured it fit in here. Just to find lefty reliever who brings some depth to that San Francisco team. Yeah, he was kind of bad with Kansas City last few years, but last year, my apologies. But before that, with Cincinnati, he was a pretty solid reliever. Most people are going to remember him for fighting the entire Cleveland Guardians team, which was an awesome moment. Or maybe he'll bring a little bit of an edge to the Giants team. But yeah, just a fine little depth signing for San Francisco. Nothing else much to say there. Then we had a trade, actually. Finally, a trade. Yay. We had Nick Gordon going to the Miami Marlins in exchange for Stephen Okert going to the Minnesota Twins. Now, this is an interesting signing trade, of course. You've got Nick Gordon going to Miami, where, as we all know, his brother, D. Strange, was there for a long time, being an all-star with them. One of their better players when they had those teams of, Gordon, Yelich, Ozuna, Stanton, Remuto before they blew it up. So yeah, Marlins have a lot of righty bats, and I think Nick Gordon is a good platoon guy for them. Uh, I think it's just a good depth move here. Getting a guy like Nick Gordon in, just more depth at hitting. I think it makes a lot of sense, and yeah, it's just a nice move for Miami. He's finally doing something. Uh, thankfully for their fans. Steven Oker, yeah, I think he's a pretty good reliever. Honestly, I think it's a little much for the Marlins to get back, but I guess they like Nick Gordon. The Twins just keep filling out a solid bullpen. They got Justin Topa from Seattle around a week ago as well, who's a really good solid reliever. Just building out that pen for Minnesota. Nothing else you can really ask for if you're a Twins fan. Just a really nice move. Keep building out that bullpen. Keep getting in these good players there, and I like it a lot. I do. I thought it was a good trade for both sides. I thought Minnesota did a little bit better, but still Miami felt maybe they had a surplus at that position where Oak was left-hander reliever in general. So yeah, good trade as well. Jurickson Profar, he went back to the Padres after spending a year in Colorado. He's not very good, but Profar, we know about Profar. He's a super utility guy, can really play any position on the field except first and catcher. So yeah, I like this move for the Padres. They obviously know him very well. I think it makes a lot of sense going back to a place he knew very well, and the Padres knew him. Before this as well is notable to worth saying. They had two, you can hear this right, two outfielders on the 40-man roster. Pitchers and catchers are reporting, and the Padres had two outfielders on the 40-man roster. That's just unfathomable to me. Going into the season, you have two outfielders. That's it. Obviously, you traded Trent Grisham and Juan Soto to the Yankees, which obviously cut into that. But still, Tatis being the only real notable guy, you had Jose Azucar, I believe, is the other guy. I apologize if I mispronounce his name. But Profar just adds more depth, not only in the outfield but the entire team. Obviously, it was big for them in the playoffs a few years ago against the Mets. It was not a great day for me, being a Mets fan, but uh, yeah, it was not fun when he hit that home run. And it was really good against Scherzer. Not fun, but I think it's a good move. I think it's a good depth move for San Diego, bringing another outfielder, which they need, like I said. And just being a super utility guy, it's always useful to have that on a team. And the Padres, of course, know him good, as he was there for a good amount of years. Finally, just another little signing, Ben Gamel. He went to the Mets. Um, yeah, another guy who David Stearns brought over from his days in Milwaukee. This makes a lot of sense. The Mets could use, I guess, some more outfield depth. You can always use more outfield depth. Tyrone Taylor, DJ Stewart, Starling Marte, Brandon Nimmo, Harrison Bader. Those are the outfield guys. There's some injury risks there. You have Harrison Bader, who's been injured the past few years. Marte was injured last year. Tyrone Taylor, who's kind of more of a fourth outfield kind of guy. CJ Stewart, who is he's kind of question mark still because he really only had that one good half season with the Mets last year when we were kind of out of it. Now, granted, it was an amazing half season. He did really, really good. But the thing is, you still needed more depth, and I like the Ben Gamel signing. Stearns, obviously, like I said before, he knows him well from his Milwaukee days. So it's just a good player bringing into camp, seeing if he can do something. I like the move. I think it's a good move. I think it's fine. Um, yeah. Um, so we still have more time here, so I guess I'm gonna talk about just I'm gonna talk about more about the Grandal signing because I really did like the Grandal signing. It kind of came out of nowhere, and I like the process of the Pirates. Bringing in a veteran for a young guy like Henry Davis, I think is a really strong move. You bring that depth in. If he does struggle or he gets hurt, let's say because he's young, maybe doesn't know his body yet. Well, he might, maybe gets hurt. We saw the other one. I mean, the other young prospect catcher get hurt, Anthony Rodriguez. Um, so I just like it. I like it a lot. Grendal was a really good player. He had a rough season in Chicago, but I don't think Chicago is necessarily the best environment if you're a veteran who's trying to win. He also had, I think, some problems in the locker room. There might have been an alleged altercation with him and Tim Anderson, Both are now obviously gone from the White Sox, so maybe they want to clean house with that. But I really like the Grandal move to the Pirates. Just bringing in depth, bringing insurance for young players who you think of highly, I think makes a lot of sense. And I think it's something a lot more teams should do. And you look at the Pirates, you look if they've added Aroldis Chapman, good player. Obviously comes with some baggage, but that hasn't. He was kind of quiet last year with Kansas City and Texas, so hopefully he's turning a new leaf. Um, you bring back Andrew McCutchen, which you had to do. He's a franchise cornerstone. Always has been, always will be. Probably gets his name up in the rafters in Pittsburgh one day. Just I like what the moves the Pirates have been making. Marco Gonzalez, he's a good depth starting pitcher. He's a good guy that can eat you innings. Martin Perez really in the same boat with that. Both good players. Both I think make a lot of sense for a young Pirates team. Now I would like them to add a more solidified starter, kind of a more of a known name. We know that they were in on both Shoto Imanaga and Yariel Rodriguez, so maybe they're trying to tap into the international market going into the future, which can never be a bad thing, especially for baseball. You see the talent influx going in for the international. You have Yariel Rodriguez, who I just mentioned, Shoto Imanaga, who I again just mentioned. One went to the Blue Jays, one went to the Cubs. You have, of course, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who signed a mega deal with the Dodgers. Shintaro Fujinami signed with the Mets. Nice little deal for the Mets, I thought. I thought he's a lot of potential. And I think an organization with Jeremy Hefner as their pitching coach can really get that out of him. You have Jung-Hoo Lee, who came over from Korea to San Francisco. I think that's a good signing. Dipping into the international market can never be a bad thing. And the Pirates trying to do it, I think makes a lot of sense. Pittsburgh's probably not a enticing destination for a lot of U.S. players just because of the location, but international players, maybe they'll like it. So I think that's a good thing for the Pirates. Just going down the line again here, Spencer Turnbull to the Phillies. Good depth move for the Phillies. I like what they did with it. I like that they're trying to add a little bit more. We'll see if they add some more. In free agency, Cody Bellinger, Blake Snell, Jordan Montgomery. Their fits, I think they make a lot of sense. And if Phillies want to splurge, I think it makes sense for them. It really does. Nick Gordon, Stephen Oker trade, I liked it. I think that was a good move for both sides. Both sides needed what they got. And I like what the Twins are doing with their bullpen. As I said, Justin Topa, really good reliever, who I thought was a good addition for them. Jerks and Profar, Padres need more depth at the outfield. Like I said, only 2 outfielders on the 40-man. It's insane. It's insane. Not even starting guys, just on the 40-man period. It's just incredible. So I like the Profar signing. I like him bringing him back. You always having a super utility guy on your team is something a luxury team should have, and I like that they did it. $1 million, kind of as low risk as you can get, really. So I like that. Ben Gamble to the Mets, more depth to the Mets. I like it. Just overall, I thought these were I thought these were some good young signings that can make a lot of sense for the teams, and I like what they did with them. So I wanted to talk about them. I thought it made sense to talk about them, but they didn't really deserve their own segment. So if you guys like this, tell me, and I'll do more of it in the future. I'm planning on doing it anyways, but if there's something specific you want to talk about, please let me know. So thank you so much for tuning into the GSMC Baseball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to subscribe to the show and leave a positive review. It really does help. It really does make a difference. Someone who does this would really, really be appreciated. We also invite you to follow us on all our social media, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, for more content and updates. Thank you once again. Have a wonderful day. See you on the next episode. Goodbye.